Okay, we're looking at the multiple choice for our final, so here are our sample problems. First problem, we were looking at rewriting the problem square root of x. So one thing to remember is that when you have radicals, they could be written in the form of x to the a and as the bth root. The b becomes the denominator of the fraction on the exponent. The a is your exponent. So when I have the square root of x, that's equal to like having a little 1 here, and if there's nothing in the root, it's implied to be a 2. So that means the answer is x to the 1/2. Okay, so now for the complex number problem, we need to multiply this out. So we're going to be FOILing it, and when you multiply this out, you just have to go 4 times -5, so we're going to move the 4 across, and then the 4 times 2i. So I got -20 plus 8i, then do -3i times -5, -3i times 2i. That's 15i minus 6i squared. I squared is equal to -1. So I gathered my terms. So I got 23i. -1 times -6 makes it +6. So when I add those together, I get -14 plus 23i. So the answer there was D. Okay, greatest common factor. As I look through my terms, I look for what will go into all three of these. Well, 8, 16, and 4. So the biggest number that will go into all of those is a 4. I have x cubed, x squared, x squared. I have at least an x squared in everything. I have a y cubed, and y. Everybody has at least a y. So that answers E. Okay, now we're going to look at the factors for 3x squared minus x minus 4. Okay, so most of you like to use like a box method. So we'll try to do it with a box. And we're just seeing about factoring these. So in this box, I put 3x squared. This box, I put -4. You multiply these together, I get -12x squared. I need two numbers that multiply to give me -12x squared, but add to give me -1x squared. And they just -1x. So what I really need to have in order for two numbers that multiply to give me -12, but add to give me -1 would be -4x and a 3x. So it doesn't matter where you put each one. So if I put the -4x here and the 3x here, I just got to think about factoring out pieces. So like right here, I have an x in common, so x can come out. If I wanted to factor upward, I could say this is 3x, or I could just do x times 3x. Then x times -4 will give me -4x. 3x times 1, +1. So my factors are 3x minus 4 and x plus 1. So it's A and E. Okay, factoring 4x squared minus 25. This is a really common one. It's the difference of two squares. So this is equal to 2x squared. This is equal to 5 times 5. So these guys factor to 2x. What times itself equals the first number. So that goes into the front one. Then to get -25, I do +5 and -5. Now, I could have had the order in the other direction, which is what the answer was. Now, you could make the box and find ones that were two numbers that multiply to give you -25, but add to give you 0, and realize you'd have 5 and -5. Okay, so for this one, the system, I'm going to take this equation. I want to get the y's to cancel, so I'm going to multiply this one by 2. That gives me 8x minus 2y equals -46. I'm going to add those two together. So let's take these two equations and we'll just add them up. I got 11x equals -55. Divide by 11, x equals -5. There's one of my answers. Okay, then I'm going to plug negative 5 back into either one of the equations, but I'll just use the top one. So I get negative 15 plus 2y equals negative 9. When I solve for y, I get y equals 3. Okay, question 7. Okay, we're going to see about solving this equation right here. So my first step is I got to add 4 to both sides. So I got 3x plus 1 squared equals 9. Then I've got to get the square term by itself, so I'll divide by 3. Now I'll take the square root. When you take a square root, you got to do plus or minus. So it's plus or minus the square root of 3. So my answer is going to be x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 3. So I got to find one of those answers. Well, that would be B is one of those answers. On this one, my first step is going to be add 2. So I get 9. I want to get rid of the square root, so I got to do the opposite of square root, which is squaring. Then subtract 1, I get 80. Divided by 2, I get 40. So the answer there was D. Okay, question 9. For completing the square, then what we're going to do is we're going to start by giving ourselves a little bit of space. We take half of this number, square it, and add it to both sides. So I'm going to add plus 9, plus 9. So I got 19 now. This factors to x minus 3 times x minus 3, or x minus 3 squared. And that was the answer we had for D. Okay, this one requires using the quadratic formula. So remember the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. But it has to be where the equation was equal to 0. So I'm going to move everything over. This tells me my a term is 3, b is 7, c is negative 1. Now I'm going to plug into the formula. So I got negative of 7 is negative 7. Then 7 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 1. So 4a was 3, c was negative 1. Now the spot where people would be messing up is this part, simplifying it. I have negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 times negative 1 will make it plus 12. So I get 49 plus 12. Well, 49 plus 12 is 61. So I'm looking for negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 61 over 6. That was A. Okay, that was the first 10. The next video will have problems 11 through 20.